There's James, Clint, Christy, and Destiny, Paul, Pete, and Demita, and my license to prove I'm Renee Sawyer giving this speech. Hi, I'm Renee Sawyer. This is for my oral interpersonal communications class. The title of my presentation is Farmworkers Unite, Jesse Dela Cruz. For years in California, there were many migrant families. They followed the seasonal produce to be harvested and worked the fields. So depending on what was going to be harvested, they would go there and work until the next place was to harvest. These people were very poor and didn't make very much money to eat or even support their families. According to Gary Soto in his book, Jesse Dela Cruz, Profile of a United Farm Worker, Jessie started working in the fields at only 5 years old. She worked with men, women, and children. Jesse Dela Cruz became the first woman recruiter for the United Farm Workers Union. She spent her lifetime fighting for injustice for the working poor. I am going to inform you of the events in Jessie's life to give you an understanding of what life was like as a migrant worker and how she took a stand for her, not for herself, but for those whom she worked with. At a young age, she knew about the life of the average farm worker. She endured the poverty. She slept outside. They would travel by truck going to and from the other fields. They didn't have any money, and they often went to bed hungry. The average lifespan of a migrant worker was only 49 years old. Migrant babies were twice as likely to die as other people's babies. This was found in Bitch Media 2011. Harsh working conditions they endured where they didn't have fresh drinking water. They didn't have toilets or toilet paper or paper towels. They couldn't wash their hands. They also endured extreme temperatures, both hot and cold, and they worked very long hours. A quote I found from Jesse Dela Cruz: "I'd been trained as a child that the woman just walked behind the husband and kept quiet, no matter what the husband does. But in work, I've been equal to men since I was a child, working alongside men, doing the same hard work, and earning the same wage." During an interview with her niece Ana Maria Dela Cruz, she talked about when Cesar Chavez came to Jesse's home in California in 1964. This meeting had changed her life and gave her the chance to stand up for her fellow working class. There were many meetings where Chavez came to her home. After a while, she became the first woman recruiter to join the union. Cesar Chavez also told her to speak of nonviolence. He said they could accomplish more without violence. Other workers joined her in her strikes. In 1970, there was a labor dispute and a strike. When Washington, D.C. refused to help Jessie, she picketed the Border Patrol. She pulled together a group to fight for her cause. The Border Patrol was going across the border and bringing undocumented workers from Mexico to go and work those fields while they were on strike. When Jessie heard about it, she got a group together and went out into the fields, but everyone was gone. She had called upon farm workers, teachers, and the media. She had a confrontation with Mr. Broderick, who worked for the Border Patrol, about bringing in the scabs, who were gone by the time she got to the fields. Jessie also participated in boycotts that were typically held at supermarkets. She wanted to stop the use of chemicals in the fields. You have to remember, out in the fields were women and small children. The group would pick something to boycott, like grapes, wine, lettuce. At these times, many things happened, both good and bad. But they were always very happy when a new union contract was signed. That meant that they were getting somewhere and helping people. Jesse Lopez Dela Cruz said, "It doesn't take courage. All it takes is standing up for what you believe in." Jessie is named a delegate to the Democratic Convention in 1972, as told to her niece Anna. She traveled with 4 women to Florida. Back in 1972, this was very unheard of, 4 women traveling from California all the way to Florida. When they were given food during the conference, Jessie took her food outside to the demonstrators, who hadn't eaten for days. The demonstrators were allowed to be there to so show their support for those women, but they weren't allowed in. At one point, Republican Senator George Wallace was wearing lettuce on his head to try to poke fun at Jessie because of a boycott that she had. The farm workers also used a short-handled hoe in the fields to work with sugar beets and lettuce. Jessie helped to ban this hoe and move forward with only the long-handled one. What is a 24-inch short-handled hoe? You figure 24 inches isn't very long. So they had to bend down with that 24 inches and hold that ground. But people had very bad backaches from using the hoe all day. She went to Fresno County in California and testified to end the use of this tool. She told her niece Anna she requested the people from Washington and Sacramento that were there to hold the tips of their shoes and to walk for 8 to 10 hours so that they could see what those people went through. The short-handled hoe was banned. Jessie de la Cruz was a brave woman. She helped many seasonal farm workers. If she hadn't fought with the boycotts and the strikes for the rights of the workers, they would still be using that hoe today. She has proven to be a great leader of the people, with demonstrators at her side to make change happen. In Jessie's culture, there's a saying, La esperanza muere ultima. Hope dies last. You can't lose hope. If you lose hope, you lose everything. Thank you very much.
Very good.